this today is that litmus test. It is the best of the best against
the shot is denied. 7 seconds for 5 Fears to take the win in the first open to give them a chance. Otherwise, Pioneers will be your champions. It's Tekaz. He puts the cape on to become the hero. Lewis P brings it to the ground. Lewis P scores the 2 goals for Pioneers to win Game 7 and your first RLCS champions.
Hey YouTube, Lawler here as always. A wild situation, down 1-3 in the grand finals to bring it back 4-3 for a Game 7 victory. And yes, what better way to start Regional 1 than with a victory as the regional champs. Massive shout outs to the Kansas City Pioneer boys. We're going to be doing something a little bit different on the channel as I am coaching a team. We're going to talk you guys through what went down. We're going to show specifics. We're going to talk about behind the scenes. We're going to peel back the curtain a little bit to tell you guys about what was going on actually in our comms and everything that's going on. We're going to do this in a couple different ways. I'm going to pull up some replays. We're just going to cycle through some of the replays and kind of talk step by step through the various stages, kind of where our mentality was at, how we were feeling about certain things, and then kind of go into the nitty gritty and talk about the things that you guys don't really get to hear about. In the future, I do plan to do potential comms videos where I record like big moments and stuff so you guys can actually hear the reactions and how we feel about stuff. Obviously, we'll cut out some of the stuff that we don't want you guys to hear, but if that's something that's of interest, let me know in the comments down below about what you guys would like for future videos on these. But with that being said, as always, like, subscribe, notifications. Let's jump into the first replay. This is going to be starting probably from our like quarterfinals, semifinals, so like our top 6 matches and in. But I'm going to talk through the whole thing. I just figure visually, you guys don't want to watch the early series because it's kind of whatever. Let's talk about our open bracket and through Swiss. We were the only team in all of RLCS that went literally perfect all the way up until semifinals. We didn't drop a single game, albeit some of the games were close. We felt very confident. I think there's going to be a lot of people that look at the SSA region and don't provide it the level of respect that I think they should. Even when and before the whole foot situation, SSA, when they were limitless as the like premier team with Snowy and to die for and stuff, have been very close to taking series in the world championships and at majors. Like, there have been moments where they are relatively close to actually taking series down. So I'll admit, even myself, when I came into SSA, I'm like, hey, this is a 1-team region. It's going to be free. But as we've done scrims over the last 2-3 months, there's been this newfound of appreciation for some of the players that are really talented. The young guns like Ravi, you've got people like Guns who, although not young, have kind of had their come up, and there's a lot more to list, but realistically, it is not just a one-horse race. Like, there's some pretty solid performances across the board, especially with new imports coming in and the accessibility. Like, love or hate Foot, they did showcase some things that raised the eyebrows to the region, and now you're getting people that have international experience, whether it be Zebra over on 5 Fears as their coach, who is changing up their play style significantly. Like, the way they played against us in the finals, SSA in the past never would have had the capability to play like that. So a lot of respect given. It is not going to be an easy region. Maybe that's just because I'm in it now and I'm paying attention to it at a closer level, but it's competitive. It's entertaining. It's going to be some fights. So that being said, our open bracket, our mentality towards everything is, obviously one game at a time. We are not taking any opponent lightly. We need to be absolutely stomping these teams. Otherwise, we're doing something wrong. Like, we need to be setting a precedent, because when you are coming in as the #1 seed and the expectation is that you are the best team, the last thing I want is to fall into a sense of complacency. So I encourage my team at all times. Like, every game means everything. This is the grand final. Like, that pressure being instilled from day one, I think allows us to, even in moments when we're not looking the best, still have the mentality of like, hey, we need to close this out. We need to have some urgency. So that carried through. Our open bracket was very straightforward. With only 115 teams signed up, you kind of skip through a lot of the double elimination stuff. Usually when you have like 1,200 teams, you go through like 2, 3, 4 rounds of crazy double elim. We don't have that in SSA. You basically start off and you go, okay, we're immediately in top 192. So we play our 2 matches and then that's it. So we played our first 2, 3-0, 3-0, nothing crazy, as expected. And we carried that through into Swiss. Our Swiss stage, we went perfect as well, 3-0, 3-0, 3-0. We played a pretty neutral series, I would say. I don't think any of the specific teams were like really good or really bad. Our Buchel score, to put an example, is exactly 0. So our teams both either went even or a little bit under, but it all balanced out. So we played a middle of the pack Buchels, a mixture of high and low of teams that made it into top 8, top 16, as well as teams that fell just a little bit short. So realistically, it's about controlling the things that we can, and we did exactly that. I think at the end of the day, whether the games are convincing wins or not, a win's a win. But as long as we slowly show improvement from day to day, both in play style and stuff, because I'll admit it, our scrims have gone relatively well. Like, we've been pretty dominant in scrims. We've looked really good, but I also know that scrims only mean so much. And will it translate on the day when competitive things and there's stakes and like things that actually matter? So we did get through it. We start off going into playoffs, going 12-0. I think it was 15-0, something like that. I forget the exact number. Which then puts us into Group B as the high seed. Technically, we were the number 2 seed, I think. I don't know if Group B or Group A is technically the 1 seed. I think we were considered the 1 seed, but due to like 2/3 of rules and stuff, I don't know if it changed. So also shout out to Lewis on that call for the demo. It was actually clutch. So our first match was against Nakandla style. Quick 3-0, nothing crazy. We put up a pretty big goal differential. They allowed... we only allowed 1 goal from them in game 2. Other than that, it was 5-0, 5-1, 4-0. So 14-1 game goal differential. Kind of making sure that we're getting into a flow. It's a really good start to the playoffs, or the early playoffs with the GSL bracket with double elimination. So we swept through that, and then we played Unity. Unity had an upset over HSK, I think it was, but similar regards. We're averaging like 4 goals a game coming through, winning our shit, and we sweep through that too. So benefits of 2 back-to-back sweeps is obviously we get a guaranteed top 6, which then brings you to the match that you guys are actually watching right now. We played against Cosmico, who I would argue is in a fight for the 3rd seed in the region. Them and LFO, looking for organization, are pretty close. They both have really good peaks, and I think Cosmico's peaks are significantly better. But there is definitely some nerves and some hesitation in that regard. Cosmico, they kept it close. It was a 4-0 sweep in our top 6 match in our first best of 7. But they slowly inched back. We averaged 3 goals a game, 3 goals every single game. And then Cosmico slowly scored more and more, which is bound to happen. You know, as our play style they become more and more adjusted to, it kind of makes sense for them to slowly start to balance that out. They did bring us to a 1-goal game in game 3. But I don't think during that series it really felt like us, and I mean no disrespect by the things I'm saying. It felt more of us making micro mistakes and little things, which ended up obviously, in my opinion, being beneficial, because when we make those little mistakes, it allows us to make those micro adjustments for when the series matter more and more. Like, this series doesn't feel like pressure. We're top 6. We've got an extra life if we drop to lowers, 1 game at a time type mentality. And we just want to make sure we close it out and get the victory so we can go immediate top 4. But yeah, the conversation against Cosmico is it felt like we dictated the match. We played how we were supposed to. Everything was good. It's just we would make some careless mistakes, or we would mess up a little bit on defense, and they would get a goal out of it, which, again, the guys are fully capable. They had some good passing plays and some good kickoff goals here and there, but that's the stuff that I try to emphasize really heavily in early series is, like, we shouldn't be giving up kickoffs. We shouldn't be giving up some of these early goals off of those things, because that means that we messed up something rotationally. So we cleaned a lot of that stuff up, and it was good to have that kind of readdressed before going into the championship Sunday matches where we're all or nothing. You know, there's no opportunity to lose. So we closed them out in a 4-0 sweep. Game 4, credit to them. They did bring us to OT, but we ended up winning it after about a minute. So pretty good there. We then jumped into this series against LFO, which, if you guys are not familiar, this is actually Torres on the team. He is the former Foot player that used to be with them last year, deciding to stay in the region. I assume just due to monetary reasons. Like, a top 4 for them is equivalent to like a top 9 to 12 in Europe, which I don't think he's going to place top 9 to 12 in Europe. So it makes sense for him to stay in the region financially. But for those that don't know, Eli and Wordy, Eli's little brother actually plays as a top 6 team as well. But Eli's got really good peaks. It's just his ceiling is kind of low at times. A little bit of inconsistency. And then Wordy has really good pop-off moments as well. So a team that we don't take lightly. To me, they're probably our I would say probably number 3 team in the region right now. But definitely some rooms for improvement. A lot of these teams are actually going to be taking their player and moving them to SSA. So a lot of people are going to reduce the ping issues. The only team that didn't have ping issues was the team we played in the grand finals with Tecos, who was there locally. So this series was a little bit of frustration from us. The first game they won 2-1. We threw it. Like, we should have never lost game 1. We had it, and we had control of the majority of the game, and then some weird stuff happened that just allowed them to get kind of a big counter. There was one where it like pinched off of our one of our players and just went in. So kind of the frustrating goals, but you got to shake them off and have that goldfish brain mentality, which we did. Communication was clean. Nobody really lost faith. You know, we have full confidence. I don't think we've ever lost these guys in a scrim either. So that expectation of knowing that we are good and we are better than them does play a pretty big role, just in the ability to say like, hey, we know we're better than them. Let's just play like it. So you don't really lose that confidence when you start to lose a couple matches here and there. So we lost the first game, but then we won 3 in a row. We held them to 1 goal. So they only scored once over the course of like 15 minutes or something like that, which is pretty exciting for us. We put up 3-1 and then 4-0, 6-0. So, you know, when you put up a differential of 13-1 in 3 games in a best of 7, and we're clicking, things are good, we're vibing. It's a pretty big deal. They called a timeout. Timeout buff is too strong. They did come back and win 4-1. When we were down like 2-0, it started to be a couple of garbage times goals. We tried to preemptively get ahead of it. And while we know we're still capable, the focus is on, you know, can we implement some early adjustments in this game just so they feel comfortable for the next game. So a couple changes there. We then bounce back and win 3-0 in the grand finals. You know, couple micro adjustments, just some things to clean up, just because people are getting a little bit too hungry and a little bit too overzealous on some stuff, which bounds to happen when you're scoring that many goals. People are just like, hey, let's just play. And I remember the specific thing I said to the guys is like, we're just playing fast, but we're not playing smart. Like, all we're doing right now is just showing that we are quicker to the ball, but none of these touches actually matter. None of these things are actually what we're supposed to be doing. So we started actively thinking about what we were supposed to do again, rather than just playing to play fast. And it bounced out 3-0. So we closed out the series. This game in particular is the game where we put up 6. Again, these kind of get out of hand quickly when you're vibing and things are going good. It just feels like you can do no wrong. So still with only 30 seconds left, we put up, I think, 2 more here. That is bound to happen as well when you've got a team that's down by this many. They're going to play overzealous and just try to play as aggressive as possible. You know, I encourage my guys to also know that this is a video game. We're here to have fun. So while we shouldn't let up the pressure, we should also make sure we're having a good time. So when we're up like this and we're bantering and everybody's vibing and stuff, it just makes for a much easier bracket mentality wise as well, carrying through for the rest of the day. The ability to just say like, while yes, this is a very competitive situation, like this is for top 2, this is to go into the grand final, you're putting up 6, like make sure you enjoy it, you know, make sure you have fun as a team. So really proud of the guys up to this point. We have now in the entire regional dropped 2 games, which is amazing for us. You know, to have like a 91% win rate going into the grand finals, it's a confidence booster for sure. So we knew that up next, which is the replay I'll go to next, which is against 5 Fears. They're our big competitor. They've got pretty interesting history, just to let you guys know, kind of for the future. 5 Fears as a team is actually not on good terms in the past. Guns and Snowy, you guys should know for a while, hated each other. They could not stand each other. They were not friends. They were very toxic towards each other. But it got to the point where they're both like, you know what? We both want to win. We're probably the next 2 best in the region. Let's team up. The difference now is they're bringing in Tecos, who, if you guys don't know, obviously European player that's had some highs and lows. But most recently played in APAC with the movie star Koi roster and fell short. Shout outs to Sphinx and the boys and keeping that one. So that being said, this series is a scary one. We start off and we lose 1-0 in OT, and it's frustrating and it's annoying. It was a ridiculous goal where like they just came off a sidewall and pinched it off our player and it went to the back of our net. I think in that game we dictated the entire pace of the game. We had every option. The shots just weren't there because their defense, and I'll give credit to 5 Fears, their defense is really good. But like, just one of those where you look back at it and you're like, dang it, we should have won that. We had so many chances and so many opportunities to put it away. And I do think we got a little bit of a benefit coming off of a series where it's like they had to sit and wait. We played a series, had 15 minutes, and then we got to go right back in. So it feels like that's part of the reason. They played super defensively, I'll say, out of the gate. They sat super far back, which is a weird adjustment to go from when we were playing LFO, who was just, you know, chasing the whole time. So they played a really different play style that we tried to adjust to, and while it allowed us to dictate pace, they did bait us in pretty well. Stayed really, really patient, and credit to them. It carried them for quite a few games. So they won game 1 and game 2. Game 2, they won 3-1. Similar things, we just couldn't get into a flow. You know, there were some things that we were doing that it's difficult as a coach, because when the season started, because they were kind of in this weird, like, we're not friends thing, we're trying to figure things out with Techos, we dominated them. Like, in scrims, we were absolutely bludgeoning them, and it wasn't even close. Like, it was ugly. But in the last week and a half, they've really made some good adjustments, and I don't know if that's credit to the players, I don't know if that's credit to their coach, but they've actually been beating us in scrims all last week. They were dominating us in scrims pretty convincingly, to a point where it was like a pretty big contrast. And I say dominating, but like it was like 5-3 in their favor or something like that in an hour of 8 matches, which like for us is not common. So the last week they've definitely had our number. So coming into this grand final, it's like there is a certain level of respect given. We knew it was going to be a 2-horse race between these guys and us, and we were given the top seed, but some people had some creeping doubt coming in against us, I think, into this game, and rightfully so, and they showed that out of the gate. So they had our number to start. They beat us 2 games in a row, so we're down 0-2. Credit to Lewis. You know, Lewis, I think, even though he's the new guy on the team, very calm presence, very encouraging, very vocal, actually, which is weird to get out of the new player who's the odd man out. Lewis is so underrated, not only as a player, but also just as a leader on the team. The way that he communicates, the way that he talks, there's a calming presence to him that really is supportive to hear on the field. Because obviously, like, I'm trying to encourage and do what I can, but when it's a guy who's in the trenches with you, who's on the field, who's seeing it as well, his call after this game was just straight up a, hey, like, what a shot from David. His call was like, we don't need a timeout. You know, like the things that are doing, like we're the ones losing right now. They're not winning, we're losing. Okay, type of mentality. Like there's a couple things we need to adjust. We're winning this game. We're controlling. We're doing everything we need to. It's just there's a couple little things that we need to fix. So we don't call a timeout here. We respond back. We get a 3-0 victory. Convincing victory without the timeout, which I think is massive for us to win overall. So we win that. The next game, their play style changes up yet again. We don't want to talk too much about strategies and what they're doing that we noticed. And we called the timeout after. So we're down now in the series 1-3. And there's a little bit of a conversation that I have with the guys, a little bit of a pep talk that we don't need to go into and what we talked about. Outside of just letting them know, like, hey, we are the better team. And here's XYZ. Here's some of the adjustments and some of the things we need to focus on. Let's go do it. The guys, and I talked about this. One of the things I said is that this is a statement game. This is a statement series. This will dictate and have long-term effects down the line because of who it is and what we're doing. But this is a game that, you know, we come back from this. It says everything about this team. And there's basically 2 routes we can go. We can either lean into our playstyle. We can trust what we've been doing for 2-3 months, right? We can talk about what it is that we focus on, what we've been practicing, what we know works. Or we can say, heck it, and we can just play with the mentality of, like, we know we're better than them. What do you guys want to do type mentality? And some teams lean into it. Some teams put that respect and that trust in the structure and the style that I've been coaching them in. And some fall apart and some don't live up to that expectation. And these guys not only like leaned into it, but they like doubled down on it. They're like, nope, 100%. Everything that you need to know, everything that you need to do is here. And I think really brought us together. I think this game did so much for our team to the point where now we give up an early goal. So it's game 5 back against the wall. If we lose here on out, we're done. They score first. Nobody's phased by it. We then score 3, 7, 9 goals unanswered in 15 minutes. 9 goals in 15 minutes over the course of 3 games that they do not score. We shut them out completely. So they get first strike. We score 3, game over. We go then to game 6, which is the one you guys just watched in Neo Tokyo. 4-0, we shut them down. They call a timeout. We then score 2 more, and they don't score until like 24 seconds left in game 7. And by then, we've got control, game's over, and we clutch it up. I can't commend how proud I am of this team. I can't commend how much these guys, like, I absolutely love and adore them. They're so kind. They're so, like, unselfish about how they play and the way that they communicate. Lewis's last words before he left the call was like, I fucking love you guys. And then he dipped because he had to go watch, I think, the Arsenal game, I think, was on or something like that. Big football, soccer fans, obviously. So, yeah, it was a crazy first event for us. I'm very proud of the team. It was not an easy fight by any means. A lot of commendations to 5 years. They're a good team, and it's going to be a battle this season. But man, one of those where it's like it couldn't have gone any better outside of us just sweeping. But I think the reality is us being down early and then bouncing back to close it out, I think is going to do wonders for us as a team moving forward. It's a certain level of confidence. It's a certain level of understanding of where our flaws are and how to build upon it. I tell these guys, like, I don't expect you to play perfect. I expect you to learn a little bit each series and slowly get better over time. And I think this is one that it's not going to be a little bit of learning experience. It's going to be a massive bit of learning experience. And the best part is what it means as well, that despite Lewis being on 135 ping, where players are literally teleporting the ball, he's phasing through players when he's supposed to be getting demos. And for us to still get the victory, I think is not only a confidence thing, but now we've got an extended holiday break. We come back early January for Open 2, and he's going to be on low ping local. Lewis on 8 ping is going to be terrifying, and I cannot fucking wait. Yeah, crazy times. Really excited. It's just the beginning, but one thing at a time. Boston's still a long ways away. So that's going to do it for today's video. If you guys enjoy these, if you guys want any other insightful things, if you guys want more specifics, maybe I'll peel back the curtain a little bit more. But obviously, we got to keep strategies and specifics close to the chest. We can't give away too much, but seriously, much love to this team. Shout out to KCP for supporting us. But that's going to do it to today's video. We've got some other regions to recap coming up. We've got predictions, kickoff lands, and everything else as we get back into the swing of things. Either way, as always, if you guys enjoy the content, like, subscribe, notifications. Let me know how you feel in the comments down below. Hit up the socials. We'll see you in the next one. Peace.